All right, here we are. This is the new iMovie for iOS, and I want to talk about 5 new and cool and significant features in this iMovie application. So we're going to start a new project, and we're going to make actually just a movie. And you can see here we've got the same options there in terms of selecting a theme. So I'm going to stick with modern. I like modern. So we're going to create a movie. And again, those themes will impact the text and the different transitions that are available to you or that are by default that are set up when you start editing and adding in text and putting clips together. The first feature that I really like is, I'm going to start adding in some video clips here to my main track. The first new feature that I really like is the ability to add in really a second video track. This was not available in the original iMovie application, and it is a very powerful and I think probably one of the best new features I think of this new iMovie iOS app. And what that means is that if I were to select, I've got 2 video clips right now on my main video track. I can select another clip from my library here on the top right, and you'll see that when I select a video clip, I've got sort of these little icons that pop up. The first one is just to import it directly into my video track. The second one is just to play it back as almost like a preview. The third one, these 3 dots, open up some other options. I'm going to focus in on those last 3 because those are what allows us to import this clip as a second video clip in a separate video track. And the first one is a full framed import, or basically like a full framed video track, second video track. The second one is almost like a picture-in-picture type of look, and the third one is a split screen type of look. So if I were to pick the first one, it imports that video track, and instead of putting it beside the next second clip here on the main track, it actually puts it on top of that clip. Now I can select that and move it around, but you can see it is essentially a second video track that we can have on top of my main video track. Now, if I backtrack that a little bit, let's go back, select that same clip, call up those same options. Let's select the second option we have for importing this video. And you can see here the difference. What this now does is it imports it and puts it again in a second video track, but as a picture-in-picture type of option. And that is really cool as well. Let's take a look and undo that. Same thing. And we are going to select a third import option for this video clip, and that is now the split screen. The other thing to keep in mind is if I were to select that video clip, you'll see that I've got these options that open up along the bottom. I'm just sort of repeating it there to sort of highlight what I mean. Selecting that second track, the video clip on that second track, opens up these options down here along the bottom. You can definitely play around with those, and you can see now that by hitting those icons, I can quickly switch back and forth between those 3 different import modes as a full screen, picture-in-picture, or a split screen. And keep in mind when I select split screen, it also opens up some other options for me. I can make it so that I flip it. I can make it so that the split is actually horizontal rather than vertical. And that is really, really cool stuff. Keep in mind I also have the ability, while I've got that clip selected, if I click audio, I can also adjust the audio level on that. So if I just wanted to make it so that it was just audio, so video and no audio, I would just make sure that that was slid down all the way down to the left and have no volume there, essentially muting that second clip. But I can always add that audio back in as well. And that is the first really cool feature that I like about the new iMovie for iOS. It is perhaps one of the most powerful features that I think that they've added on for this new version of iMovie. The second one is makes use of that same idea, and let's just bring that clip back out. We'll just start with our 2 main clips. Let's get rid of that clip altogether. Let's go back and select another clip. Now, again, calls up those 3 icons. I'm going to select those 3 dots there. We focused in on those last 3 icons, But it's this other one here that looks like a waveform. And this is another really cool feature that was not present in the previous version of iMovie. It is the ability just to add in the audio from that particular clip. So if someone's speaking in that video clip, but you don't want to bring in the video, you just want to bring in the audio, select that, and that will just bring in the audio of that clip. And as you would expect, by selecting it in the timeline, you can move it around. You can select it and adjust the length of that audio clip, adjust the volume of it. You can even play around with stuff like speed and fade. It's pretty incredible what you've got available to you. So by playing around with fade, I can then fade out the audio. I can play around with the speed of that audio. And again, this is audio from a video clip that I had in my library. So this, again, another awesome feature. Simply select a clip, click on those three dots, add in that audio using the audio waveform icon, and you now have it in your timeline for you to select, adjust, trim, fade, whatever you want to do. It is there. Awesome feature. Feature number 3, this came up a lot too from teachers wanting to perhaps focus in on a particular part of a video and almost crop out a particular part of a video clip. So let's say we've got that video, that screen there that we just want to sort of focus in on. What we can now do is, by selecting that in my timeline, you can now see that I've got that yellow box around that clip. But if we move over to the preview screen, and I'm trying to make that sort of icon down there, sort of blink, it looks like a magnifying glass with a plus sign in there. If I select that, that toggles on the pinch to zoom video feature. And just by using 2 fingers on that preview screen, I can sort of zoom in. Is great, allowing you to focus in on a specific element in your video. Something, again, that was not available in the previous version of iMovie. Another awesome feature, and that's feature number 3. Now, feature number 4 is the ability to adjust the speed and being able to freeze a frame. So we've actually just played around with the pinch to zoom, but you'll also notice by selecting a clip in my video, in my timeline, you can see that it also opens up the ability to adjust the speed of a particular clip. You can see there. So what I've done now is select a clip, and by selecting, you can see speed down there on the lower right, I can adjust the speed. Now, it's automatically by default regular speed, but I can slow that speed down by taking the slider and basically slowing down the clip. So if you want to do a fancy slow-mo, you can do that easily in iMovie. Now, also, by moving the indicator line or the marker line there to a particular frame, let's say I want to move it right there, and I want to freeze on this frame, again, selecting that clip brings up all of those options, including this thing here called freeze. And this is another new feature. Selecting freeze will take that one frame and basically freeze it. So I have my video starting like this, and right there where I've frozen that frame, it will stop and then continue playing on. Now, I can still select that one frozen clip or part of that clip and adjust the length of it. So if I want to make it a longer freeze on that one frame, I can do that as well. But that is all done, again, simply by selecting a clip, moving along a timeline there, and you can see all those options popping up, and I can then select speed. I can also select freeze as well and do all those great things. Again, another nice, cool feature in iMovie. The 5th and final one is, you can see there along the bottom right, is the whole concept surrounding text and adding in titles. And if I select title now, I've got the option to, selecting a clip again, hit title, add in something that is, again, this is more connected to the theme that you selected when you first opened up your project. As you select different themes, the different looks will start to come into play here. But I can add in sort of an opening type of text, a middle sort of scrolling text down there at the bottom, I can also add in a closing type of text. All right, play around with it and see what these features look like. Again, they'll be different, slightly different for the different types of themes that you chose for your iMovie project. But what this allows you to do now is if I select the middle type of text option, I select that field in the preview screen and I can add in or type in my text. And what I can now do is add in some animations, and this is something that's relatively new. So I've got my text there, and if I move over to the bottom right, you can see I've got the mute icon. I've also got the gear there to sort of deal with the settings of that clip. You can see there that brings up the project settings and my ability to add and change the themes. But the other thing I have is that T inside of a box. That is new, and that allows me to add in animations to this text. And if I select, for example, focus, you can now see that it changes my text. Keep in mind, I wanted this down in the bottom, so I can still select that. If I look down there in the bottom left, I can select lower and bring it back down to the lower part of my screen. But what this now does is if I were to move this, you can see that the text now has that animation on there. And again, selecting that clip, I can continue to adjust, but also play around with the animations there by clicking on that T, and you can see the different types of animations that are now available to me. Fantastic options, and I really like this. Something again that is part of the new iMovie for iOS. There it is, text. So 5 features to keep in mind. It is, again, the ability to add in a second line of video, basically a second video track. The ability to take and split audio from a video clip and just import that into your project. Pinch and zoom video, essentially allowing you to crop or focus in on a particular part of a video clip. The ability to adjust and freeze a frame in a video clip, and slowing down a video clip as well, the speed of a video clip. And finally, the ability to add in what I think are better looking titles through animation, and having those cool features now sort of help to make that text a little more interesting to look at when it pops up on your screen. So 5 new features in iOS iMovie. Enjoy.